The narrative that we tell ourselves becomes our reality. Think about that. The story that plays out in our mind becomes reality. Do we really understand the power of that story? Let that sink in for a second. I've already talked about how this story that we tell ourselves changes the present moment drastically. How an obstacle can become an opportunity in an instant, and that is incredibly powerful. We have this magic ability to make lemons into lemonade or to spin straw into gold. Doing that in the present can be easier said than done. But I don't want to talk about that today. I want to talk about how we can change the past. Changing the past in some ways is incredibly easy. In other ways, it's difficult. But either way, changing the past with our narrative is incredibly powerful. Elizabeth Loftus, who is a prominent psychologist, conducted a study about the malleability of human memory. And in that study, she was able to prove that when someone is exposed to something as simple as a leading question, or if there is even subtle suggestion behind an interview, that it will significantly influence a person's recollection of any event. And so thanks to her and psychologists like her, we're able to understand that we need to be very skeptical of our own memories, especially when we are in a situation where we are open to outside influence, or even when we ourselves are trying to make sense of an event that happened. Because in that process of making sense of whatever happened, we are open to our own suggestions. Given the findings in that study and many other studies, we need to understand that as we try and make sense of the past, which we will, we're going to be susceptible to dozens of logical fallacies. Everything from the post hoc fallacy to confirmation bias, to the narrative fallacy and hindsight bias. And some of these even have spiritual undertones. For example, providentialism, which is where you put God at the helm of your personal life, and where everywhere you turn, the hand of God is guiding you personally. And that's how you see trials immediately turn into blessings. And apophenia, which is where you start to see the term synchronicity get tossed around. And in apophenia, you're looking for and finding connection and meaning in between unrelated and completely random events. And both providentialism and apophenia seem to have some sort of higher power connecting things. On the other side of that same coin, you have the illusion of control. And this could be a tendency for atheists to feel like they are always in control, to look back and see that they were ultimately in control, when in reality, it is much more complex. There are many more factors than just you in the past. And so all of these logical fallacies, all of these biases, these are just things that we need to remember that we are susceptible to when we are thinking about the past. Because as we shape the narrative of the past, we are changing the past. Whether we like it or not, our view of the past is never going to be perfect. It's not all bad though. Cognitive restructuring has been instrumental for therapists to be able to treat people with post-traumatic stress disorder and move that into post-traumatic stress growth. It's also been very helpful for therapists who are treating anxiety and depression. By understanding this incredible power that we have of narrative that allows us to shape our perception of the past, we can harness that knowledge to create a more fulfilling, a more meaningful, and a more empowered present moment. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that our ability to use narrative to shape not only the present, to make obstacles into opportunities, that same power of narrative also applies to the past. And with all of that power, to quote Spider-Man, comes great responsibility. And as funny as that is, I'm serious. Because excessive distortion and manipulation of reality through our narratives can remove us from actual reality so badly that it keeps us from growing. And so what I'm trying to say is that our ability to shape the narrative of the past is incredibly powerful. And as we harness that, we need to remember that we're not trying to remove pain. We're trying to learn from it. And as we learn from it, we can grow and progress. Anyways, I hope that this video about the past and the narratives that we construct was helpful or interesting. If it was, stick around. I'll catch you in the next video.